But let's really start with what is social media, okay? Wikipedia says it's the interaction among people in which they create, share, exchange, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. What is social media? Social media is really a conversation. Conversation around content, a conversation between people, a conversation behind every brand, there are people. So that's one thing that I think everyone needs to remember right off the bat with social media. So you're talking to other people. So remember that every time you have a voice, every time you put something out there, when you're identifying who you are, you're talking to other people. Okay, so in recent years, since the birth of social media, there's really been a major change in media. So it used to be that brands controlled everything. So now the control is shifted to your audience. So Nikhil talked about this. You really have to earn attention. You have to go where your audience is. Gone are the days where you could put out a broadcast commercial and say, here's the message I want you to hear, people. Go forth and buy my product. That no longer exists. People's filters are growing and growing and getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Just think of the abundance of screens that have come about. It used to be, you had your television, maybe your computer. But now we've got smartphones and there's screens everywhere. So people are starting to tune things out. Their filters are shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. The other thing to remember is, I know that you guys might be thinking like, she's got the wrong group. She got the wrong memo here. We're not brands. You are. Even though you may be a government agency or an organization, you guys are all building brands. Roy Neal back there from the Lieutenant Governor's office, he's building a brand. He's building an identity for what he does. So what hasn't changed is you still need to tell your story, okay? You have to find a way to get out there. But now you must earn people's attention. You gotta get the chair to turn, guys. I mean, you gotta get Steele and go, bam! I want, with that grandiose gesture. I mean, you've gotta earn attention, okay? All right, so how do we choose the right platform to do that? Where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? Oh my goodness, Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest, oh my. All right, let's start with two things. The first, you have to understand your audience. You should know, or start finding out, three things. First, the types of content they're accustomed to, and where they're already enjoying consuming that content, okay? You have to look for the places and the platforms that they're already at. Nikhil mentioned this too. You don't put something on Facebook if your audience is on Twitter. Okay? And then you also need to understand what you want them to do and why. What is the purpose of talking to them? Where is the conversation going? Think about just a regular old conversation. You don't talk at someone. You're wanting them to do something, or you're wanting to do something for them. You're wanting to exchange information. So you need to have a purpose. Next, you need to know the importance of a good mix of channels. It's very, very important. You have to understand that one channel can't be all things to all people. Okay, you can't say, we are going to start a social media campaign and we are going to put it all on blah platform, because that platform doesn't reach everyone. It can't be all things to all people. You have to have a good mix. Number two, you have to understand what you're trying to accomplish and that each channel's role in achieving that. So is Twitter does that serve the function of timely updates and news? Are you trying to get quick bits out to people? Pinterest, are you trying to display something visual and get someone to interact with it and then drive them to your website? You have to understand what the purpose is. And three, your content has to fit those channels. Don't put a text update on Pinterest. That doesn't really make any sense. If anybody is on Pinterest, you know that that's not a thing. So your content has to be fit for their channel. All right, so no further ado, let's talk channels. I'm gonna go one by one. There's a lot of information here. Don't feel like you have to all write it down. I'll find a way to share slides with you after this somehow via SlideShare and Twitter. Okay, so quick snapshot. I'm gonna go through more than just these, but here's a nice graphic that kind of represents 5 of the channels, and some really key stats about each one. Pinterest, it's all about discovery, guys, and it's all lifestyle brands. I'm sorry, just started. Okay. And their users are primarily female. okay? Twitter. Twitter is a microblogging site. It's all text. It's the largest in the U.S. Blah blah blah. Facebook. They have this is basically your mass market channel. Everybody, think about the world, everybody's on Facebook. Instagram, it's all pictures. And LinkedIn, this is really your B2B, your business oriented. That's really the channel where you're going to be talking about business conversations. All right, let's go one by one. Facebook, what it is, it's a personal social media channel. You create a profile for yourself, or your brand, or your company, or your place, or your organization. The types of content that do well on Facebook are visual. It's turned into a very visual format. Anybody follows the recent updates to Facebook, they have really championed up imagery. It's looking a little more like Instagram, so it's big visuals. User flow and experience, so you post your piece of content on your feed. If whoever follows you, they see that in their feed. Whether it's a person, or a friend, or a company, whoever it is, they'll see that. There's a little asterisk next to company. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't know if anybody, there's been some recent changes in Facebook's algorithm that they are, if you're a brand and you post something, it won't necessarily be seen by all of everyone who follows you. They're sort of forcing a paid media model lately. We can go into that maybe later in the questions round, but just something to be aware of. All right, so who's on Facebook, guys? There's about 1 billion people. There's right about half and half. Still the largest demographic is really 18 to 24, but there's something that's a little deceiving in that. Something that's very important to note is that teens are the most rapidly declining segment on Facebook. Why? Because their parents are on Facebook now. Because the 55 plus has exploded by 80% growth in the last 3 years. So if you're trying to market to some younger kids, they are kind of shutting off Facebook a little bit. All right, so let's boil it down for Facebook. Is it right for you, okay? Your target is pretty much a mass market, so your content needs to be, is your content visual? So these are the things you need to be asking yourself when you're considering a platform. Is your content visual? And this is very important. And can you maintain a stream of visual content? It's not just can you post a great picture, but it's can you have a content plan to support that? And Bethany's really going to talk about that later. And if you're looking to build a community and you're ready to engage with them. So it's not just talking at people, but it's engaging in a conversation. So you have to be prepared for that. And then the last thing is really you're going to have to start having a paid media budget to support that. It's just something that is becoming ever more prevalent with Facebook, and it doesn't have to be a ton of money. You know, it depends on your audience size and who you want to reach, but you will have to start having a little bit of a paid budget. All right, so here is an example of a Facebook newsfeed. So you guys can see, here's a sponsored post right here from Disney, right next to a personal post. Here's some ads running along the side. So here's how you see how paid media flows within the regular feed. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys for each of these platforms some examples of some people that are really doing this right. Be them government agencies, associations, or brands. I'm trying to get a good mix for you guys. So check out the FBI's Facebook page. It's pretty awesome. They post right up here who they're looking for, most wanted. I mean, anybody can go on here and try to find some people that they might want to report to the FBI. I mean, that's kind of cool. You would think that might be a little secretive, but I think that's awesome. They did this around the Boston bombing that happened a year ago. They posted all the feeds that they had, and they have hot links here. Okay, where can I go? If I know anything about this, I can click right here from their Facebook page. It's amazing, right? I mean, it got tons of response. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, Twitter. All right, Twitter is really a scrolling news feed of short text updates. You can post video, you can post pictures, you can post GIFs or GIFs, however you want to say that. So everybody knows. So CeeLo, looping and churning, that was a GIF or GIF, so looping video. It's a very popular type of content going right now. So the user flow experience for Twitter, You write a tweet. Maybe it has a picture, maybe it has a video, maybe it has a link. You post it, it goes into the news feed. Whoever is following you on Twitter sees that. And for Twitter, it is a strict timetable flow. So there's no algorithms in there about whose content gets seen when, like there is on Facebook. It is strictly based on time, unless you do a sponsored tweet, and that can go out to your target audience. But I'll see if you tweet, then you tweet, then you tweet, then I'll see your tweet, and then your tweet, in that order. One thing that is really important with Twitter, because if you start following a ton of people, it can get a little overwhelming. Another function within their user experience is you can create lists. Nikhil talked about listening. That's a really, really great method to use when you're trying to listen to your fan base. So if you identify these are some other agencies or associations or companies I'm going to listen to, these are some individuals that I've found are very impactful on Twitter and are very engaging in conversation. Whenever I post a tweet, I'm going to put them in a list, and then I'm going to put some other maybe news sources in a list. Some content providers that maybe I like to retweet a lot. So that's a good way to manage it a little better, because it can get a little overwhelming. There's some good tools out there. Hootsuite's free. Everybody likes free, right? So if you're starting out, find those tools. Audience demos. Here it's about 31%. 18 to 29. It's about equal in gender on Twitter, but males are a little more engaged than females. Some really interesting notes about Twitter is that 80% of world leaders use Twitter. We all know Barack Obama does. We just talked about that earlier. 90% of the top US law firms have a Twitter profile. And 45% of users on Twitter tweet at least one time a day. So that's a little glimpse inside who's doing what on Twitter. So, boil it down, guys. Is Twitter right for you and your organization? All right. Are you publishing and sharing news or engaging in a timely conversation? This one falls back to that time segment that we talked about with Nikhil. Twitter is it's like a scroller on your TV. It's all timely. It's also really useful around an event or an occurrence. So we have a hashtag we're using here today. So if you want to go and see what everybody's talking about at GOVTalks today, I do. I'm going to go find that hashtag and I'm going to read everybody's things. So it's really useful for something that surrounds a timely event or an occurrence. Other thing that's really important for a gut check, a reality check on Twitter is that you have the bandwidth to be active. You're really not going to make a big splash with Twitter if you tweet once a month or a week. Or, you need to get that cadence with your audience and understand how often they want to hear from you. And how often they're going to want to be engaged. The other thing is you don't want to just flood people with a bunch of articles. I unfollow all the time some people that are all up in my feed every 5 seconds. Nobody wants that. The other thing that's important about Twitter is that you have a place to drive the users to get more content. So it's 140 characters, guys. Sometimes you need more than that. If your message is if you're Georgia DOT, your message is a traffic update or a road closure, fine. But if you are trying to provide some rich updates, maybe some news articles behind that, or something that you've written, or something on your website, use Twitter as a way to get that headline out there and drive people back down. Okay. So here's what Twitter looks like. My Twitter feed. So you can see this is sort of what a promoted account would look like. So everybody on the left side of their Twitter. There's who you should follow, okay? These are some people that they've decided that I probably know. And then here's this brand, Puma Golf. I like golf. They have targeted me and they've said you should follow me. And then here's my feed. You can see up at the top, Twitter Small Biz. That's another promoted tweet. So again, you can kind of see how businesses, promoted tweets and individual tweets kind of all arrive there in the same feed. Here's how a picture looks. So this is Twitter is making some updates as well to try to become a more visual platform. Of course, these 140 character text things are really what Twitter's bread and butter is. But they are trying to be more visually engaging to keep up with some of the other platforms. So you don't have to, if I tweet and I post an image, I don't have to click away from the feed anymore to see that image. It just sort of expands there, looks nice. Same thing with a video or a GIF. If anybody does not follow the Dunwoody Police on Facebook or Twitter, you need to start now. They're great, guys. I mean, I met them at a conference, the two guys that do most of it at a conference recently. They're young guys. They're just regular old police officers who said, you know what, we should put Dunwoody Police on social media. Bethany's going to dive deeper into their content later, so I won't divulge all the awesomeness that they are. But look at this. I mean, who would think that you would want to hear updates from the Dunwoody Police? They do a great job. They tell stories about those little, so like the NYPD example of the homeless man with the shoes. That's what they're telling stories like that, but locally. So if you want an example to look at, Dunwoody Police, they're great. And then also another function of Twitter is customer service. A lot of companies are starting to use Twitter for customer service. Delta Assist is awesome. Has anybody used Delta Assist on Twitter before? Yes? Oh, that it? One? Y'all.
During the snowstorm, my boss couldn't get out on his flight.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get through it. They said it was an hour wait on hold, but I got through and they responded. Amazing.
Her boss was stuck in the snowstorm, couldn't get through on the phone line. Twitter. I've done this. I did this in the snowstorm in like 2011 or whenever we had the other one before. Same thing. So over here, like they've got their own little, okay, if I want to, these are the customer service reps. So if I tweet, then one of them is going to tweet me back and I can go look over here, and if I need a shortened acronym for their name, I can get that. Or if I want their whole name, they personify a very frustrating role. They're people. You think you go on one of those fun, like press 1, press 2, press 3, operator. I'm sorry, there's a way. That's not happening. This makes it so much better. So this is another function of Twitter that a lot of companies are taking advantage of. Delta, as a brand, has its own Twitter feed. Delta Assist is specifically dedicated to customer service, and they do a great job. All right, Pinterest. Pretty pictures, guys. Pretty pictures. All right, Pinterest. It's really, when you think about it, it's a digital scrapbook, sort of a bulletin board. It's really a bulletin board on your computer. If you're flipping through a magazine and you're like, if you're a bride, ooh, I like this dress, I'm gonna tear that up. All right, this is all done quickly and easily on Pinterest. So, types of content, as you can imagine, static images. Video doesn't really play within the Pinterest board and the native feed. It's not really something that it does. It's all static images. The thing that's a little bit different about Pinterest than another visual platform like Instagram, Pinterest is more catered towards nice lifestyle, sharp, high-res photography. You're not going to see a lot of pictures of like my baby up on Pinterest. That's just, I mean, not that she's not adorable, but that's just a point of differentiation when you're thinking about these feeds. Popular content here, home decor, fashion, food. Everybody loves recipes, all kinds of things. User flow, you post it. It appears in the feed, main feed. Everybody that you follow can see it. And it's again, time-based. Just like Twitter, there's no weird algorithm that makes my awesome pin go way above Roy's awesome pin. Audience demos, as you can imagine, 84% female. Okay? Ladies love the Pinterest. They've got about 70 million people on Pinterest, a little lower than some of the other platforms. Tablet viewing dominates on Pinterest. I'm gonna pin that. 75% of their daily traffic comes through their app. About 500,000 businesses are on Pinterest. Again, it's a lot of lifestyle brands, travel, leisure, food. But here's something very important for all of you. Brands that are on Pinterest have seen 30% growth in their web traffic referrals from Pinterest. Wow. So, you're learning there. You're trying to get people on your website, and you have visual content. Consider Pinterest. Okay? Another thing on Pinterest that's really kind of cool is they have a community boards function. So if I want to start getting people involved in it's not a very conversational platform like some of the other ones are. You can repin each other's stuff, but there's really no like, hey, I like this, back and forth. But you can invite a group of people to a community board. So if I am Explore Georgia, maybe I want to put some of the attractions in Georgia, some of their content editors all on a community board. Or maybe some travel influencers that I know write about the South or blog about the South, things like that. They want to contribute to the board because then all their followers are going to see that. So, community boards. Is it right for you? You're looking for ladies, all right? You want the women? Pinterest. Content's visual, we just talked about that. And you're looking to drive traffic to your site. So those are your gut check items for Pinterest. All right, so here's what it looks like. Here's the feed. Here's I follow all these people straight from my, so we got banana split cake right on next to best exercises for arm flab. So this is what the feed looks like.
It's too funny.
Okay, the Florida Museum of Natural History has an amazing Pinterest. They do a really, really great job. Megalodon, they just have beautiful, very visual content. And I guarantee you that all of these pieces of content, maybe 85% of these pieces of content, drive back to someplace on their website or their blog or content stream that they own. All right, Instagram. All right, Instagram is really an app. The desktop function of Instagram, it's not really a thing. You can't even post on it. So users can follow each other to see their photo feeds. It is just imagery. You can post a picture and you can make a comment. Static images, well, you can also do video, so 15 seconds or less. Oops. You can add really cool filters and effects. You've seen everybody that has taken a picture of like whatever kind of food that they have at whatever kind of restaurant that they're going to in Atlanta, and it's really awesome and it has a cool filter and it looks very great. That's Instagram. Content areas, everybody loves a selfie. Selfies on Instagram, probably 60%. Food, vacations, kids and pets, babies and dogs. User flow, so you open up the app, you choose a picture, or you can take it right there. And then you can post it, add your little filters, do your little zooms, make it look really cool, and then make a little comment. You can tag somebody on Instagram, tag another user, so that they're like, oh, there's a picture of me on there, that's cool. Then you can comment or like. Here's something very interesting on Instagram. The regram is not really an actual native thing. There's no retweet, repost, repin, share, not a thing. So if you see people that repin things on Instagram, they've taken their little phone, they've done a little screenshot, and they've saved it on their phone, uploaded it back to Instagram. So that's a little bit of a different experience when it comes to sharing on Instagram. All right, so we're 68% female here on Instagram again. Under 35, Instagram is growing a lot with younger people. Something to think about. And then the Instagram video attracts more engagement than Vine. You guys remember Vine came out 2 years ago, and then Instagram was like, Instagram video, bam! Never really recovered. Their audience skews more urban than suburban. So is Instagram right for you? Your target's a little younger, okay? Your content's really visual, and it tells a story. And you're okay with posting things on mobile. I mean, that's just kind of one of those things that when you get your social media operations plan out there and you've got this idea that you're going to start uploading things on your desktop and blah, blah, you're okay with doing it quickly on your mobile handset. All right. Here's what Instagram looks like. We've got Discover ATL right here next to my friend's babies. And then if you go to actually visit a user's page, you can see their name and then all the stuff that they've posted. All right. If you don't follow, here's your other pro tip. If you don't follow the TSA on Instagram after today, you're going to, because you'd think that they can't possibly have anything cool to say. They're the TSA. Everybody hates them. But they post some really cool stuff. Stuff they find at airports, actual things they find in security. This is an alarm clock that looks like a bomb.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, you can't even bring something that looks like a bomb even if it's not. Nope, no can do. That was in Kansas City. And then look, oh, it's adorable. It's our explosive detection canine Allie and her handler. Oh, it's in Spokane. Oh my gosh. And this was a taser disguised as a tube of lipstick.
Oh my goodness.
So that was in St. Louis. So they actually post things they find. I mean, you guys would not. There's like brass knuckles and throwing knives and like all kinds of crazy things. So the TSA is what they're doing behind all of this weird stuff is they're taking things, they're using Instagram as a way to humanize themselves. They're trying to talk to people in a more human way. If you ask somebody, what do you think about the TSA? They're like, nobody's like, yeah, I love them. But this is a way they're trying to show a little bit of interest, a little bit of, oh, it's a dog, you know, a little bit of human element to what they do every day. I mean, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's very funny. So that they're doing a really amazing job on Instagram. All right, LinkedIn. This is kind of the weirdo in the group, guys. I'm not going to lie. So, community, professionals, job seekers, networkers. Okay, I am likely not going to be linked in with my mom. There's really no reason why, unless she's in my industry or something. But she actually is, and I actually am. But it's kind of different. But if she were somebody who was like a cake baker, I probably wouldn't. All right, so types of content, a lot of articles. This is a business resources site, a lot of job postings. If I'm an HR professional, I live on LinkedIn, okay? Business articles, available jobs, SlideShare presentations. Look at how great my company is at doing this. I just did this SlideShare presentation. All right, so your user flow here is you make a professional profile that looks surprisingly just like your resume. And that's one tip. It should always match your resume. Companies can also create profiles. It's a little different. It's not overly engaging, I would have to say. The experience, I have to tell you, on LinkedIn from a brand perspective, because I have done some LinkedIn campaigns for clients before, it's very difficult. It's very different. It needs to serve a very specific purpose. If you're trying to get out there and reach all these people and have all these wonderful conversations and engagements, LinkedIn is not the place for you. There's tons of people on it. It skews male, mostly higher levels of household income. All right, this is right for you. It's great for B2B communication. That's the other thing. If you are a professional services provider, if you rent office space, if you're a commercial real estate person, LinkedIn could be great for you. Or if you're an HR professional, we talked about that. Or if you're looking to engage with other professional groups or organizations, or you're a recruiter, if you're looking to find talent, LinkedIn, great. The reason I brought LinkedIn into this presentation is there's a lot of articles around get your brand on LinkedIn. And there is some reality checks, like Nikhil said, that you have to put yourself through on LinkedIn. I'm not here to bash LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. But it's very different for brands. So don't let them fool you. Here's what it looks like. Here's a Merrill Lynch post. It's paid. It's right here under some other little updates about some people that I might know. Here's what a sponsored piece of content looks like by Regis offices. LinkedIn is a great place for them because there's a whole bunch of business people on LinkedIn. Probably a whole bunch of startups looking for office space on LinkedIn. So if you're a brand like Regis, LinkedIn might be the place for you. Okay, but if you're Oreo and you're trying to talk to consumers, it's probably not what you need. I'm not thinking about Oreos and I'm on LinkedIn. All right, so our last platform we're going to do a deep dive on. I'm going to cover a couple more at the very top level. Tumblr, blog community. Okay, everybody gets their own .tumblr.com web address. Types of content, images, typography is really very popular on Tumblr, GIFs, and video. Okay, GIFs, talked about those earlier. Some popular content areas, design is really big, fashion, art, anything really highly visual, pop culture. I mean, after any major award ceremony, if you go on Tumblr, you'll see like a gajillion GIFs of some celebrity tripping or doing something stupid. The user flow, they can post text, photos, GIFs, videos, or links. So there's, right at the top, we'll see in a second, you can just click whatever you want to do. They can follow other blogs that they like. It shows up in your dashboard feed. You can, this is important, you can like it, you can comment on it, or you can reblog it. So if I reblog it, it goes on my blog. So all the people that follow my blog see it. User demos. So this is also a very young user base. All the kids be on Tumblr, guys. 16 to 24. Skews urban, So this is a very important note as well that ties into your type of content. If you have deep content, if you have something you're really wanting someone to spend some time on, users spend 16 minutes per session on Tumblr. It's a long time in internet land, okay? So is it right for you? If you have a myriad of different types of content, you want to be able to be very flexible in what you want to post and make it look very original, Tumblr's for you. It's also an easy place to act as a content hub. So if you want to go out there and reach tons of people on Twitter, tons of people on Facebook, you need somewhere to drive them, but maybe your website might not be conducive to a lot of content updates, or it's not really laid out that way. Tumblr is a really great place to act as your content hub because you can put a ton of stuff up there. You can drive people directly to what you're looking to. You can put a long article, you can put a picture, you can put another link. It is a great place to act as a content hub. And we actually use Tumblr a lot for our clients as a content hub where their .com experience is really terrible. And we just know that's not a battle that anybody needs to be fighting. We make a really great content environment on Tumblr because it's flexible, it's highly customizable, and it's very deep. So that's something that's really unique to Tumblr, I think. So let's look at some Tumblrs. All right, so here's what the dashboard looks like. This is what, I follow Fast Company, and then down here somebody posted something about a dog. Here's something. So then when I come in here to log in, here's my dashboard. So if I want to post something, I click text, picture, quote, blah, blah, blah. I click it, and it gives me an interface that is very unique to that piece of content, helps me upload it really quickly, and then it posts it in my dashboard. Then here's a picture of my blog. You can make it look however you want it to look. Okay, here's a great example. Bureau of Land Management has an amazing Tumblr. Guys, look at this beautiful imagery, fabulous content. So this is, as you can see, a content hub for them. They're using it like a content hub, and they're building an environment for people to engage deeper on what it is that they do. Also, the U.S. National Archives. Ain't nobody got more content than these guys, all right? I mean, come on. They have content for years, forever. So they do a really, really great job of being able to tell that story. How do you get all that content out there? It sounds really scary, okay? But they're doing a really, really great job. All right, so really quick on a couple more. You guys are probably like, what about Google+? I hear you're really supposed to do that. Google+ is a very different platform. It is great. There's no reason why you should not do Google+, or use Google+, I should say. However, it's not really taken off as a content environment or a very engaging type of platform. What it's really great at is optimizing your search, okay? There's a million different ways that you can post different types of content and tag it on Google+, and everything with Google+ should tie directly to your website. It optimizes your SEO. It pushes up your ranking in Google. So if that is one thing that is your objective with your digital strategy, is improving your search engine optimization, really look into Google+. It's very easy. Anybody can do it. Now, it is no super deep, massive SEO strategy. There are a lot of people that specialize in that. I'm not putting them out of a job. However, Google+ does not hurt. One thing that is very key when thinking about Google+ is what are you going to put in there? Like, oh, Blair, another content stream that you say I have to do. What am I going to put there? Oh my gosh. A lot of people just really recycle their content from Facebook or Twitter onto Google+, because again, no one's going to be like, did you see her Google+ today? It was awesome. No one's really going to be going there to engage with a ton of content. It really is just helping with your search, all right? And it adds a little validity. That's kind of another thing. Snapchat, I just put this. This is a very buzzy kind of thing. I don't really think anybody in here needs to be on Snapchat, probably. If you think you do, we can have a side conversation later. Some brands are getting on Snapchat, but they're really passion brands. And people that are really going after the very, very young. So Taco Bell's on Snapchat. That's the only really good example I can think of. Because they're a passion brand, they're really funny. Like, a teenager can follow Taco Bell because they think it's hysterical. They make things like Dorito tacos. I mean, why not? YouTube. If you have a lot of video and you need a place to store that video, stick it on YouTube, guys. It's just another great place. It's another way that you can organize your content without having to have a major overload with your website. So, and I'm not going to go too deeply into your content strategy because that's what Bethany is going to do. But one thing you need to think about, so it's really important to have strategic and sustainable content that works for you. You can say, I'm going to hit the road today and have all these amazing, I'm going to do Facebook, I'm going to do Twitter, I'm going to do That's, you really, before you start, you need to make sure that you have content that is strategic and it serves a purpose and it's sustainable. If it's going to be really hard for you to make 2 posts a week, you probably need to reevaluate what it is that you're doing. And so the other thing is you don't have to make everything original, guys. You need to find the right blend of what to create and what to curate. So you need to be right, and it might not be right in the middle for you. It might be a little more over here, a little more over there. But on the side of create, you've got control. You can do your brand voice. You can make it look exactly the way that you want it, the TMs and the circle Rs and everything the right way. And you own it. It's all yours. Over here on the curation side, it can be a little more authentic. If it comes from a person on social media, an actual person, or somebody that has influence, it's a little more authentic than you saying, I am this brand and I dictate what you should do. You also can have an inherited audience. We do a lot of influencer campaigns for brands where we'll identify in certain communities very influential people online. So like in the crafting community, if you have a paper brand or in a job-seeking opportunity. So you sort of identify those very influential people, you bring them on and you can inherit their audience. Because like Nikhil said earlier, go where people already are. Go where they're consuming content. If they're listening to this guy over here, get that guy and have him talk about your brand. And also it allows for a little more increased creativity because if it's a curated piece of content as a brand, you can be like, we didn't make that. That guy over there, this is what he thinks about us. He just happens to think that we're so great, but it just allows for a little bit more creativity. All right, I know I flew through a lot of that. We had a lot to cover, guys. There's a lot of platforms. I'm sorry if your head's spinning. Again, I will share these slides with you, but questions?